All right, everybody, welcome to today's call. Oops, I better unhold you all first. Welcome to today's call, everybody. It is Friday, my favorite day of the week, and it's a beautiful Cape Cod day outside here today. You can see the windows blowing up behind me with sunshine. Great day. And, there's nothing like starting a sales training call. By the way, the TRC sales training call, April 19th. 2019, so I'm going to get the date in there. But there's nothing like starting off a call when literally we just jumped on the call after having a conversation about a lead that has been garnered from this telemarketing effort that we've been putting forward, and to share that with you and exactly how we made adjustments. It's Autumn and I in the building today. Laura, the lovely Laura, is on vacation, enjoying her little babies. So that was a good opportunity for Autumn and I to sort of work through some of the logistic here. And so there are people that ask me, Paul Cantu, when he comes on here, he asked me specifically about expireds, but I don't want to dominate the whole call with expireds. I'd like to transition into some of the other stuff to talk about when it comes to especially outside sales as well as inside sales, but it merits an update for how things are going for us here and the adjustments that we're making because, interesting enough, only 30 days in, other habits creep in, formulas and systems get challenged, yes. And we're laughing about that here because it's just incredibly easy to snap into, and I'll let Autumn speak to this in a second, but I would first call it a muscular, comfortable place where you rely on your talent before you rely on a system. And that can be extremely dangerous and not recommended. So what we talked about today, and this is always a hotly contested term, but scripting, right, is a hotly contested term because people have this vision of scripting as being something that needs to be memorized. What we think, I think together so far, and we were laughing, it's like Johnny and Ed McMahon here, right, as we go back and forth. But what we were thinking is more so that, and I learned this in TV, beats, so that it's authentic, but it's still formulaic, yes, with an outcome that's very clear. And the way that you get from the start to an outcome is you consider the offer that's being made. But the offer comes from a point where it has to be very clear to them what's in it for them to the extent that it's a major benefit to them. Mm-hmm. Very, very important for them to understand that there's a benefit in this, and that's the way that you make this decision, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so let me open up everybody's microphone and we'll get started here, and we'll go from there, okay? Check, check, are we good? Remember, *6 your mic if you are in a busy spot. Hi. Hi. Hello. Hi, hi. Cool, we good?
Hello, hello.
All right.
Hello.
So, all right, hello. Hey, how you doing, Fahad? So listen, Paul, since you are here, you wanted some very specific tactical questions answered, which is fair game for this today. So let me just let Autumn first give you some thoughts that we just went through. I want to hear her perspective because as we teach, we learn. Okay. Right? So let me have that go. Yeah, and then you can ask her. Hold on.
I just want to say my question isn't in regard to expired, just FYI. Okay,
cool. Look, this is more technique and tactic for us because you did ask me also about voicemails, which we just dealt with today. Mm-hmm. We do leave voicemails, but they're specific now that we have a formula because everything is going to relate back to our content, which I think is really important. So why don't you give them just a summary of some of the adjustments that we made today?
Sure. Well, what I noticed was, since I've been here, I haven't been working with a script. And, I wish that I had mentioned earlier to you guys that a script is important because a script, as long as it's concise, is your safety. While other people, when they answer the phone to you, they don't have a script, so it's sort of wide open. You come in armed with a script. Now, what happened to me is I've been here for a month and I've been winging it just based on my own expertise and what I know of people and telemarketing. And it has worked. We have, 3 people on the griddle. 2 of them look very good. But today, or I should even say, I'll say today specifically, I noticed that I was not really sure about what I was calling to say to these people. I had the gist of it, but I didn't have anything firm. And Danny happened to come in and he noticed it and he said, no. what he pointed out was concision. I was sort of all over the map. So what we did, and Danny really did it, he put together a script that I applauded, and I took it down on my computer. And so this happens often. I want to make an aside here. When you're a salesperson, as you guys are, there is a time, a lot of times when things start going well and you've got, some popcorn in the popper, you start to get a little wishy-washy without realizing that you're getting a little wishy-washy. Part of it is because you've laid back on your haunches a little bit and you think, okay, all right, things are going. The thing is you can never stop in sales because you're constantly doing your 20, your pipeline. Okay, so what I had to do was listen to Danny, of course, and put this pitch together. And so my subsequent calls were much firmer, much more concise. And all I had to bring to the conversation was conversational style and confidence while I was being conversational. Now, I will tell you, I was leaving messages, and I have had luck leaving messages recently. People are calling me back. I don't suggest that you leave messages, but I'm just telling you where I'm at today. So I think sometime in this call, we're going to read that short, concise pitch to you. We will get it out to you if we're happy with it, so that you have some...
it's okay. You can go through it, even though it's a sort of a rough draft that we chiseled out just now. Because you know what, I'd rather they had the raw of like, because you were talking about 45 minutes ago, an hour ago, right? So I'd rather they saw transparently into the raw evolution of a business, because it just makes it more real. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, the risk of sounding like I'm talking at you guys and not talking with you guys, that's my preaching for today. Is whenever I would be in a situation in sales where I was cracking the whip, I was doing good, and I just, without realizing it, sat back on my haunches and got a little bit sloppy. And I would go to the boss and I would say, I'm having trouble. And what was the constant answer? Go back to the script. Go back to the script. Go back to the script. So we now have a script, which, as I said, we'll try to get to you guys. And this is what it is. This is the first call script about getting packages out to people. And this is how it goes. Very short. And you're going to bring your confidence and your conversational style to it, because the script does the concision. Here we go. Hi, Mrs. Jones. This is Autumn from the Griffin Realty Group. I'm the concierge here. The reason I'm calling is because we saw that your property came off the market, and we were surprised because it looks like a great property. I just want to let you know that we sent a package that includes properties that were on the market in your price range that ended up selling. And the package includes pictures, details. I thought you'd be interested in knowing that and seeing that information. In case you're considering putting it back on the market, we also thought it would be helpful if we included a copy of our home seller plan. I will call you back to ensure that you've received the information. Of course, I'd like, in the meantime, if you would like, call me back at 508 blah, blah, blah. Thank you. Goodbye. Okay, so the thing I want you to look at is the pitch itself, not particularly the way I delivered it. Because sometimes when you're reading a pitch, you run the risk of sounding a little robotic. Remember, what's the trick on sounding robotic or frightened? Slow down. Okay, so there you have it. It may get tweaked. We'll see. But so far, so good today.
Paul, go ahead. Since you asked very specifically about messages, and then you asked some technical questions, let's just stay with the questions you asked, because I thought they were good and beneficial for everybody. I think tactically you need to hear this as well. Go ahead and ask your questions, and then I'm going to summarize what I was teaching her I think the beats are, but I want to defer to you first.
The message she left is very similar to the message I leave every time I call an expired. I'm calling expireds manually. I'm not using a dialer. I do reference their address within the beginning of the message. The reason I was thrown off this week, and maybe I just misheard, was that we were not to leave messages. And so my technical question is this. You have your people calling strictly expireds. I have 4 different sections of my Infusionsoft. I have expired. I have leads, which are still coming in through online platforms. I have prospects. people we've talked to, but maybe they weren't true prospects. I'm trying to sort that out.
Sure.
And then I have assigned calls, which are about 54 to 60, which are people that I've talked to, determine their time and motivation within 1 year. So I have 4 different groups. And so back to, like, say, leads. Am I wrong in that? Are we still following the same formula? Get the lead, call lead voicemail, call lead voicemail, call lead voicemail. Then it goes out to a week, then week, then week. So I was pretty much following the same pattern in terms of expired. I mean, pretty much all these things. I can't call all of these people that frequently because obviously they're not all new leads. So with the expireds, for example, Daniel pulled a year's worth of expireds and he's putting 10 in a day for me.
Yeah.
Some of these might be a year old, some might be 6 months old. I'm not going to call them once every 3 days. That's annoying.
No.
But I do call them and then another call comes up in a week. I am leaving voicemails each time. Am I not to do that?
All right, hold on. So let me unpack some things there. I think one of the most important things in the conversion of a relationship is to be very clear about the differentiation in the databases where you're at. So just so for everybody's reference point, a contact is a contact is a contact, but the disposition lead means you know very little about their timing and motivation, if anything at all. Whereas the prospect, and again, I heard what you said also, not sure we prospected them correctly in the beginning. But let me just go back to us as the example that what happens is when she calls this list, and it could be any list, we're about to expand it past expireds into probates. We'll be opening back up the internet buyer lead generation to be much more coordinated. We're not interested in volume. We're interested in quality, okay? Because when she calls up, we want the best context to be helpful that we can. Because ironically, I know it's going to sound weird, we're trying to be in a different business than everybody else. Because the number one objection I hear in a sales training call is, well, everybody's making the same calls. Well, shame on everybody for making the same call, right? And I think, Paul, that goes back to the hero of the story is the buyer or seller consumer contact who is on a journey. So where are they at in that journey would lead me to give you best practices for voicemails and what the content of the voicemail would be. Let's presume, for sake of argument, best practices is, I wouldn't want anybody thinking best practices is to call and leave a whole bunch of voicemails, check the box and say, I had a great day on the phone. Okay. No. I just have to get that into the recording to make you all understand we don't promote that. No. However, there's a reality in the voluminous work that you do as a telemarketer and your dedication to that work. There will be plenty of occasions where you know the truth. You're having enough conversations each day that are real, and there's real movement. In addition to those real deals, it's not bad to leave a message, but now let's go to what kind of a message. If it's lead, this is what I was teaching Autumn today. Mm-hmm. If it's a lead and we have never spoken to them before, the precision and concise clarity of the message really matters.
Yes.
And it's a strategic approach that I've said this for a long time. People, I think, are beginning to understand me. That imagine a seller lead that you are calling. Doesn't matter to me what the context is at the moment, because it's any kind. Home evaluation, Paul, expired, doesn't matter to me. It could be anything. There's some context of selling. Mm-hmm. The idea is, what you want as an outcome for you ultimately is an appointment to give a listing presentation as to why they should list with you. So you just need to go back and say, if that's the outcome, I want to tell them I have, which is essentially a pre-listing package for them. Okay. I'm going to give you a piece of what I will discuss if you will only let me in. Right? So I'm willing to give you that piece of content. And there's benefit. This is the big thing that we talked about today. There is benefit to what I sent you as a potential seller, with or without me. And the benefit is there are a list of properties with pictures and details that sold around you. Now, with expireds, you have more price context because you see what they asked and what they didn't get. So it's easy enough to send them some properties a little bit above it and a little bit below it, and not use the word comparable. You don't know whether something is comparable or not. You simply know that they wanted this price. Here's a little bit above what sold and a little bit after in the general radius of where they went,
Right.
or as close as you can get radius wise with like kind.
Right.
Paul, you tracking me so far? Stay with me.
Yes.
Keep your mic open.
am
Keep your
tracking.
mic open so we can just keep moving through it quickly, please. So the
Okay.
point is we are adamant about understanding that differentiation and teaching it to Autumn. I am adamant.
Right.
Because I want to be different. I don't want us to sound like everybody else. And most importantly, if we only ever get to talk to you and send you that thing, I want a positive footprint. I want to make sure that the very first conversation we had with you leaves a positive impact, whether or not we win your business.
Absolutely. Can
Right.
I just add
Yeah,
something
sure,
quickly?
for
Paul,
sure.
Paul, I want you to know that I'm not leaving messages on everyone's phone. The people that I am leaving messages with are people that I've tried for a month to contact and I can never get them to answer their phone. Let's say there's 20 of them. If I can get 1 or 2 of them to give me a call back, then I'm ahead of the game. So I am not leaving messages on my daily phone calls. I want you to really know that. These are people that I just can't reach.
Here come the cops.
Okay. Well, that's a question I have for the group as well then, because I'm struggling to see the point of making, I don't know, I made 45 calls Wednesday. If I'm only going to reach, let's just say I'm really lucky and I reach 2 out of 10,
Right.
why wouldn't I leave calls for voicemails for the other 37? It seems like a fruitless endeavor to just be dialing and then hang up rather than leave a quality voicemail that may or may not resonate, based upon the scripting.
All right.
I'd like
You
to
don't
know
need. Hold on. We don't need to go. Hold on.
leaving the voicemail
Hold on.
or not.
All right. Hold on. We don't need to go to the group. Let's go to Autumn first. Go ahead.
The reason, Paul, that you don't want to leave a message if you're getting, say, you said 2 out of every 10, so you're looking at 8 or 9 people. You don't want to leave a message before you've met them over the phone in person because it's less effective and it's almost like social media marketing. It's just another ad and they don't have time.
Amen.
So if you can't get in touch with them and you have dialed them, say, 5 times in the month, perhaps a few more times, then leave a message. But up front, no, I'll call them for a solid month before I'll even consider leaving a message.
But let me play the contrary and support you with a message. Okay. If you're just going to do it no matter what anybody says, I think what you say is now absolutely critical. And you have to let them know that you will continue to call. I'm just going to start with the end in mind, okay? You have to tell them that no matter what, you will be calling back. So in other words, hey, Danny, it's Paul Cantu. I'm calling from Cantu Realty Group. The reason I'm calling is because we saw that your property came off the market. So we sent you out some pictures and details of properties that were in that price range that ended up selling. We thought that would be insightful and helpful for you. By the way, in the case that you're thinking about coming back on the market, we also included the home seller plan that we use with our clients. We thought that would be helpful too. Okay. I'll be calling you to make sure you got that information. So there's the beats. There are the beats that we talked about today with Autumn. One, okay, here's who we are, and here's the context of what we saw about you. Okay. And complimentary. I don't think that's ever been discussed enough until Autumn showed up. I think there needs to be a compliment there. We're surprised that it came off the market. It looks like a good property because it is. They're all good properties and they should have sold. And something's wrong. That's a genuine comment. So to be positive and leave a positive beat, because what's stunning to me is how many people have expired because the realtor had zero enthusiasm for the process and the product. We're enthusiastic about anything. You want to give us a dilapidated house? We're enthusiastic about its potential. So I think that positive beat in the introduction, the context is important. Okay. Next, after that, the next thing is we sent you this property information complete with pictures and details because we thought you would be interested in knowing what sold in that price range while you were on the market. And the last one is a transition in case you're thinking about coming back on the market. We also included our plan. I will be calling you to make sure that you got this information. So if you could hit that and you're sending the content, now I think they're on the lookout. Now I think they know. And one thing I did add to her, I said to Autumn, and you could put in, of course, if you'd like to call me back in the meanwhile, here's my number. Here's how to get me. You with me, Paul?
Sorry, you're on mute. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Is he asking?
You're on mute. I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So thoughts? I just support.
I think that I like the last part about if you'd like to call me. I think that's a great addition to what I'm leaving. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, the idea is, but Paul, it's more important about the beats. Repeat the beats to me.
Sending you something of value. Why I'm calling, because I saw that your property was off the market.
Yeah.
I sent you something of value. If you're considering, coming back on the market, I also sent you, this extra thing, my, seller, 7-step. I'll be calling you back to make sure you received it. Oh, and by the way, if you'd like to call me first,
No, that's it.
Call me back. Here's my 206. Blah, blah, blah. So yeah, definitely, I like that.
Intro with context and complement. Okay, sent you beneficial property information in your price range, pictures and details. Okay, also included my plan. The word plan, not course. Plan. I will be calling you continuously, incessantly, to make sure that you got it, period. Okay? Ultimately, if you want to preempt that happening, call me back. I think if you can hit those beats, then I can make a case for voicemail. I'm just still going to stick with Autumn. Best practices is a tenacious pursuit of a real phone call.
Yeah. Because
my experience already with this telemarketing effort is that until we talk to the real human being, because they need even hey, look you guys did a great job of the mastermind yesterday. Best mastermind in 6 months because of participation. And what everybody chunked up was even a further simplification. So like I said to Autumn, if it is not clear and concise as to who you are, what's in it for them, what you've added as a plus that's unique to you, and that you're going to be contacting them or they could contact you, which is a call to action, I think you're overstating and you're babbling and you're just me too.
They don't care.
Yeah.
They will forget all about your message.
All of it. But you're just simply
okay. But Dan,
yeah. Go ahead.
But Danny, let me jump in real quick. Let's go away from expireds for 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
Online, Boomtown, Sync, Prime Seller, whatever, leads. Do you want us to continue to leave a voicemail first day, second day, third day? Or are you now saying, don't ever leave a voicemail for them until you call them for a month?
Look, I'm
talking about online lead gen.
Well, let me say this. Everything's theory until it goes into practice and something happens or it doesn't. Originally, my thought was nobody that I was coaching, met, or had ever done online lead had a conversion system with a high standard, Paul. So my thought was, theoretically speaking, I think that anybody that goes out and pays for an internet lead owes themselves an obligation to pursue every one of those leads on the phone to have a conversation. Okay, that's what I just believe. I don't care how much more difficult it is. People are hiding behind. Shame on every marketer for not making a more quality offer and getting all this whimsical stuff. The reason why people don't pick up the phone en masse is because it starts with crappy marketing, period. Okay, a crappy way to grab anybody's information, which you found out if you had Yahoo recently, they wiped out a whole bunch of fake emails. Okay, so we're trying to clean up the world. So the quality lead that comes in first, Paul, is the first step. The second step is because you obsessed over getting a more quality lead, it is your obligation to make sure that you pursue with best practices a phone call. So what we decided was try them today. And again, if you use a dialer, even easier. They all go in, all the leads go in. Everybody gets dialed today. Everybody gets dialed tomorrow. And on the third day of an attempt, a message could be left. And I would use the same formula. What I would be saying is, and again, I don't like it, but then again, I have a dedicated, telemarketer sitting here. Okay. So to leverage the time for those that don't have a dedicated telemarketer whose function here is to pursue, right? And to get conversations. It's a flunk if she's leaving just voicemails. It's a flunk, right? I don't want to hear that.
No.
But I will make the case for those of you that need more leverage because you don't have that. You should absolutely 100% follow the same formula with that internet-based buyer lead or seller lead. Hey, it's Paul Cantu calling from the Cantu Realty Group. The reason I'm calling is I saw that you decided to use our website to search for properties, and I simply want to make sure that it's getting you the properties that you want. Here we go again. It's always starting with property information. Buyers and sellers want pictures and details of properties that are for sale and sold, period. It is a universal want of all of these people. That's what they want. So I think ultimately that's what becomes critically important here. Does that make sense? Paul?
Yeah, I keep having that mute. Yes, it totally makes sense.
Okay.
Can I add something?
Hey guys, I'm going to take you guys off because I don't want to lose the Facebook feed. I'm going to take you off the microphone. Hopefully that doesn't kill us. Check. We still good? We still good?
Can you hear us?
Somebody? Check. Y'all there? Hang on one second. Bear with me. We've got a line that's dying up here, and we need to take it. Yep. Can you hear me?
I can't hear anything.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can't either. Yeah, I can hear you.
I can't hear Danny. I can't hear Danny at all.
Okay. Hang
I think
on.
we lost Danny.
Hang on.
Did he mean for us to go to Facebook and just listen to the?
No.
No, I think he was coming up.
Hang on.
He's talking on the Facebook, but
Hang
you
on.
can't hear him on the
I'm
phone.
here. I'm here.
Can we leave a message on Facebook to say we can't hear him?
I'm here. Check.
That's a smart idea. I'll do that.
Check.
Can you hear me?
Hold on.
Check. No, don't. Hang on. Yeah.
Oh, he has a delay or something.
No,
He can see us.
No.
I'm saying we can't hear. I'm saying we can't hear you.
Oh, you know what? Plug this into your phone, your computer, please. Just probably a USB.
Oh, that's what it is. Oh.
Welcome to the conference.
Hi, I'm here. I tried to. Yeah,
Okay.
I was running out of batteries on the Facebook feed, and I didn't want to lose it. All right, Paul, go ahead.
Paul, can I just?
I think I already commented. I think that I can't remember exactly where we're at, but I think I finished my comment.
Okay.
All right, Paul.
It was about just. I think we were just talking about like response. Oh, okay. Well, I guess I have one more. When you are leaving, if for those using a dialer, which I'm not, I'm manually dialing at the moment, and you decide, okay, I'm going to call these online leads 2 times, and on third try, I'm going to leave a voicemail.
Mm-hmm.
You're leaving a canned voicemail, right? A pre-recorded voicemail. Am I correct?
No.
You're not.
No.
You're not. Oh, so you can pause the dialer and leave a manual voicemail within Mojo?
Yeah, I do click dialing on the dialer. It's called nurture dial, so that I'm in control of what's dialing. But Paul, I cannot reiterate to you enough that I only leave a message if I have decided in my own head that it's a dead lead. That means I've called it probably 8 to 12 times. Listen, they're not looking at their phone most of the time. They may see your number over and over, but they don't care. I see a lot of numbers on my phone that are calling me over and over. And if I don't get their call or pick up, it's no big deal. So I call probably 12, maybe even 15 times and just hang up with no message. And when I realize I'm never going to get them to pick up the phone, which is at about that point, 12 to 15 calls, then I leave a message. I would never leave a message on my third call. Never.
Okay, cool. Paul, you got your answers there?
Yeah.
Paul? All right.
I mean, yeah. I mean, sorry, I'm mute again? No, I'm not. Yeah, no, I understand that, Autumn, and I respect your practice. I'm just going to do it different, but I respect what you're doing.
Okay.
Paul, here's the bottom line.
Yes, sir.
If you're not having conversations, you're nowhere. And if you're not telling them that they have, and hold on, let me finish. And if they're not clear that the content that they're getting from you is a benefit to you, you're completely wasting your time, is what I've discovered. All of this. I think all the direct mail marketers in this business, look, I would love to believe that some of the direct response marketing